I'm wearing the coolest T-shirt from the weekend. I thought this was the coolest T-shirt up there. So this was on sale at WordCamp San Francisco. I wore that one today. Dave's got the other new WordPress shirt, and that's the shirt that was from WordCamp that the other Dave has on. I'm going to start out the meeting just like I do always, and just go around the room, let everybody take about 10 seconds, introduce yourself, and a little bit about what you're doing in WordPress. I'm going to put Dave right on the spot. Dave number one.
I'm number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Dave. I'm a developer. I build e-commerce and web applications using WordPress and other things.
Dave.
I'm Dan. I'm a program project manager at Spectrum Tech. And
Dave?
I do stuff with WordPress.
I'm Dave, Step 3. I work with them starting when they start, plus I do blogging this. Plus I'm just good at sessions. So all that stuff.
David?
I'm David. I am a full stack developer and I do things with WordPress.
Oscar?
I build WordPress websites to make money online with affiliate marketing. My name is Oscar.
Yeah, we're done with the Daves, I think.
One more.
Did we miss a Dave? Oh, I missed a Dave.
All right, well, there's another David. Sorry, I'm one too.
Yeah.
All right, my name's Dave. WordPress.
Dave?
I'm Dave, number 6. Freelance WordPress.
All right. Now.
I'm back to C.
Yeah.
I'm Jim Rod. I'm a developer since I started at Postman days. Now the developer go WordPress.
Hi, I'm Jason Tucker. I'm a WordPress developer for a nonprofit, and I'm streaming live tonight. So if you don't want to take notes, you can watch us over at ocwp.org. Is the website.
Elizabeth?
I'm Elizabeth, and I'm a developer, and I'm not really doing that much of WordPress right now. Kind of a little bit into Magento, but still liking the open source community.
I'm Kim. I'm a research engineer, but I kind of lost WordPress in the past. And just looking it up and find socialize with people.
Hi, I'm Vicki Champion, and I'm a small business coach, and I refer people to get websites. I'm just learning as much as I can.
Great.
Oh, me?
Yep.
My name is Alex. I own a music studio, and I have the website developed, and another company is taking care of it. I want to be able to hook on WordPress so I can do it on my own.
Great.
My name is Megan. I have a couple WordPress sites that are very inactive. And I'm consulting with a firm in Long Beach and that has a WordPress site that I need to get back into.
Cool.
Okay, I'm Rob. I'm work as a freelance web designer, and that's one of my clients just keep calling. I hope don't call me Monday nights. So what does he do? I'm also into
Mondays specifically, or any nights?
Monday from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Do not call me.
All right. That's pretty specific. He wants you.
Yeah, I'm Jim, and I've done a couple of WordPress websites, and just want to learn some more.
Okay.
My name is Joanne, and I want to build some websites for friends, so I'm here to, for their businesses, so I'm here to enhance my skills.
Okay.
I'm Ronnie, and I teach at Cal State Long Beach. I teach web design classes and promoting the use of WordPress.
Great. Yeah.
I'm Dan. I do video production, and we have like 5 websites. We just started our first WordPress website. I know nothing about it, and I'm tired of everybody lying to me about who doesn't know about it. So I can learn about it.
lie to you tonight, but I wouldn't trust me.
Pete, I support business, in my company WordPress.
Great. Okay.
I'm mostly heavily specialized in forms and integrated WordPress.
Great. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Steve. My company's called Zeek Interactive. I've been in business for 19 years. We do WordPress websites and mobile development, native mobile development. And I've been leading this group for a little over 5 years now. So, oh, I missed one. I'm sorry. You came in late. You thought you were going to sneak out?
Yeah, shifting, freelance developer, something new to WordPress, just trying to get my feet wet.
Great. So because we will do some networking at the end. Just a show of hands to do a quick wrap up. Raise your hand if you're a developer. So there's the developers in the room. If you're looking for a developer, keep them up. Okay. Raise your hand if you're a designer. There's the designers in the room. Project managers, production managers, content people, writers. Okay. Did I miss any other group? Single ladies. Anybody else? All right. So what's that?
Put your hands up.
So there's the people to talk to afterwards if you're looking for developers, designers, content people. We have a very active Facebook group, which is where we converse when we're not meeting at a meetup. So if you're not already on here, see me afterwards, and I can get you added to the Facebook group. We do keep it private to keep the spammers out. That's why my voice is a little hoarse from the weekend. It's late night of karaoke on Saturday night, so I apologize. But if you want to be in the Facebook group, like I said, it's a really, really active group, and anything goes here as long as it's generally WordPress related or insulting me. Then it's pretty much those are pretty much the extent of the posts that are up there. Yeah. But we do keep this very well moderated. We have a few moderators who actively watch this, and they keep it out, and this is a great resource. So if you're not already on there, just see me after, and I'll get you added to the Facebook group. Several other meetups that meet regularly in the neighborhood. Some that have spawned right from this meetup. But I just want to mention a few, and I'm going to miss a few like I always do. So remind me. But there's the North County San Diego meetup, which is run by Chris Lemma. There's also the other meetup in San Diego, which is the Advanced WordPress group. Out in Riverside, we've got the group that's run by Various. Pasadena, we've got Alex's group. Hollywood, we've got Natalie's group. Greg Douglas leads the thank you, the Hollywood WordPress group. There's one in the South Bay. That was great timing. There's one in the South Bay that's run by Adam Silver, right? And then there's the Topanga meetup, which is run by Andrew Bala. Did I miss any meetups? Yeah. And there's two other meetups that meet right here in this room. So I've got this is the general meetup, which is open to all user levels. Second Monday of the month is the developer meetup, which is run by Brandon and Jeff from Pixel Jar, which is now Crowd Favorite. And then there's everybody's welcome. Absolutely, you're all welcome to come. I'm just saying, yes. Those meetups are generally geared toward that meetup is generally geared toward developers. So they do talk in binary. Right? There's 10 types of people in the world: those that understand binary and those that don't. And then there's the design meetup, which meets the first Monday of the month, which is run by Sarah Weefald. And this meetup meets the fourth Monday of the month. Did I miss any other meetups? All right, talked about Facebook group, talked about meetups. This past weekend was WordCamp San Francisco. If you missed it, you missed a pretty decent WordCamp. You missed a good time. You're shaking your head. Why? You want to talk about it? So let's talk about it. Who was there? All right. Cool. Let's talk about what was there. Anything interesting?
Yeah, I'm just gonna see it.
Right. Okay. Besides all the drinking that was done, did anybody attend the sessions?
Yeah, I think I attended 3. So did a lot more socializing, meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a guy named Luke W. His talk was awesome. Yeah, his was maybe the best one. My favorite one of the few that I went to.
It talks about mobile responsiveness and how to deal with things like Google Glass and what are the benefits of media queries. And sometimes you need to still go beyond media queries and use graphic sniffing and the future of that. It was actually a really interesting talk.
Great.
Our Jacobs did a talk on backlog.
Okay. Cool. I watched Mason's talk about globalization,
Yeah, that was awesome.
which was good, which was a good talk. And then on Sunday, yeah, go ahead.
Also, Sarah Cannon's typography was also very interesting.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sarah Cannon.
Yeah, we had the fire alarm, so yes, yes, we put it on the ad.
Yeah.
The other
Cool.
talk I caught that was good was Bean. I don't remember his first name, his last name is
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Bean, yeah.
Come on in.
And he had some really good stuff to share just as far as like how you keep your meetings on track and productive.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's a web monkey guy.
Cool. Okay. So those sessions were on Saturday, and then Sunday I didn't stick around for it. Sunday was the State of the Word Contributor Day. Did you go to Chris Lemma's talk?
Yeah, that was
That
good.
was very good.
It was good?
Very.
He's a terrible speaker, I'm really surprised.
I heard that.
And what was the State of the Word?
It's good.
Yeah.
WordPress is
He
good?
went through and shared the stats from this year, and then he talked about like some key things that are going to be changing.
How many versions are gonna come out this year?
You're being serious?
Yeah, I think we're going for 17 versions.
Two big ones.
He didn't talk about how many, but as far as I heard, he's keeping with the same.
Yeah, that sounds about the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
What was
the
the
same
name
thing.
of instead of IRC, he's using,
That was the last WordCamp San
Instead of
Francisco.
IRC.
yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
not doing, they're gonna be doing a different model, they're gonna be doing a.
Slack.
Yeah, Slack. Yeah,
There were two conversations. What happened over here?
They're using Slack instead of IRC.
Okay.
So there's Slack's a collaborative tool that you can use to do chats and such, but instead of using IRC, which has been around since like the days of yore, you can actually use something that's, a little bit better and also has mobile apps and all that sort of thing.
You do think it's better?
Okay.
But it is better. You have your own private chat room, so you get all the time all the information somebody puts up. And while he spoke, I think about 200-300 people just signed in at that time.
Steve, if you go to WordPress, chat.wordpress.
Yeah.
Yeah, chat. And eBay can do this. You don't have to be very special.
Okay. Cool. David?
Yeah, so he was saying they're not gonna be doing like specifically WordCamp San Francisco anymore.
Okay.
They're gonna be doing, like WordCamp US is the concept.
Still in San Francisco?
They may move it around to a different city.
Okay.
He dropped a hint that it might be Houston.
My feeling is that somebody else is
Where he's
going to take
from.
over.
I was born there too, so, yeah.
My feeling on this is that somebody else in San Francisco is going to step up and make it WordCamp San Francisco. Be official,
Okay.
automatic sanctioned event.
All right. Any other tidbits or interesting things from the weekend?
But the star of WordCamp San Francisco was this guy.
Was Jason Tucker?
Yeah, Jason was featured very prominently for 1.5 seconds.
With the Google glasses.
So he was in a slide wearing his Google Glass.
That was his 1,500 milliseconds of fame. All right.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah, show it down.
Yeah, you can show on Facebook.
I don't want him to get a big head. All right, cool. We talked about this before we started, but the next upcoming WordCamps are WordCamp Vegas, which is in December 13th. WordCamp Phoenix is usually in January, but we couldn't find it listed anywhere, so I don't know. And then WordCamp San Diego is going to be in March. Those are the next upcoming WordCamps in our area. Any questions on WordCamp San Francisco or WordCamps in general? Yep.
What are
What's a WordCamp? Great question. What's a WordCamp? I can answer it, but all right, I'll answer it. It's typically a two to 3 day intensive weekend with talks about WordPress related things. Every WordCamp's a little bit different. Every major city has one, and it's usually an annual thing. So in Orange County, it's in June. But
It's kind of like a meetup, but an all day.
yeah, it's usually Saturday's usually the big day at the WordCamp. So Saturday's usually 45-minute to an hour sessions all day long. Usually 2 to 3 tracks, again, depending on the WordCamp you go to. WordCamp LA had Friday tracks as well, and then had a Sunday contributor day. WordCamp LA was just in September. So keep an eye out for those. They do sell out pretty quickly, especially the popular ones like LA and Orange County. So it's something to keep an eye on. San Francisco sold out in seconds.
Yeah.
We do announce those things on the Facebook group, so we let you know when tickets go on sale. But grab them quickly. And yeah, WordCamp tickets only $40.
What is the website? Central.WordCamp?
Central.wordcamp.org. So that's information on what WordCamps are and what all the upcoming WordCamps are. Ventura's already sold out. What's that?
It's upcoming.
Yes, sorry. Any other questions on WordCamp or WordCamp San Francisco? It does say tickets available. Look at that. All right.
I have a download.
So since we are talking about WordCamp San Francisco, I did talk to several people about the weekend, and it felt a little corporate.
It was a weird vibe.
It was a weird vibe.
Why was
Right?
happening?
It was a different vibe. I ask you, what's happening?
Are they getting business here?
WordPress is growing up.
WordPress is growing up? What does that mean? Matt put a tie on, Matt put a suit on.
It got the attention of big companies now.
Say it louder so they can hear
It
it.
has the attention of a lot of big companies because there's entire businesses being created just on WordPress alone that are, employing thousands of people. So that's pretty significant, and from open source.
Okay. So, but there's the rub. This is an open source project, but it's going a little corporate. So what happens now?
Turns into
So
Mozilla.
as it continues to get more of whatever you call it, market share of the internet, it's like now 25% of the internet is all like WordPress websites. I think that there's going to continue to be more of a magnifying glass on it. Like 1/4 of the internet is now WordPress.
Right, let me get my cat. Hang on a second. Yeah, you're right.
So thinking about it from that perspective, it's going to continue to get either or both more scrutinized, and it's going to become a little more corporate, and or somebody's going to try to organize it or control it.
Yeah, people want a piece of the pie.
Okay. That's it. Do you think in 10 years we'll be having a OC WordPress meetup?
No.
10 years ago, I was having an OC Flash meetup.
Yes,
So,
it would be something else.
so I'm asking, in 10 years, will this be the OC WordPress meetup? I'm just looking for predictions.
As long as you're here.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought you meant that.
I'll have a meetup. 20 years ago, I was leading the LA director meetup. So if anybody remembers that, okay? So a director's gone. Flash is going. Right? What's that? Yes, I have. Thank you. Thank you. I'm asking. And that's a legitimate question.
I think something's gonna come up. I don't know what it is though.
It's quite possible. The 25% of the web, even if WordPress stopped today, in 10 years, it's still going to have its share.
Okay.
So it's possible.
Sure, but it might be something like Front Page has its share right now.
I never, now in my defense, I never led the LA front page meetup.
We'll have WordPress 9.8 and people will ask us to upgrade their 3.6 site.
So is a more, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Do you see anything coming up that's gonna take
It's
a
always,
shot at it?
it's always something. I mean, there's always stuff.
Yeah, it just seems so adaptable, it can swallow stuff that's coming in the last 10
Ghost
years.
was supposed to do something, I don't know really what's going on with that right now, but it's a blogging only.
Yeah.
Really, it's not-
Sorry, hang on a second, Oscar, go ahead.
I guess it would be, is that it would be more like a fragmentation situation, where you see different groups doing different things with it, and at some point, they'll probably do a divergent code based on that. That'd be my guess.
Okay. Hang on one second, Oscar, go ahead.
Well, I see some of that, but there's also a possibility that it could become this like core, almost an operating system for, beyond blogging and content management. We have Rainmaker doing the memberships and entire other sites doing nothing that WordPress was intended for. So it could just become this kind of like central operating system for this huge part of the web, and then not lose any market share and just continue to gain, but people won't know it's WordPress. That's another possibility.
I think mine is trying to make it more corporate, more sellable item, because he showed a diagram, and it started with the 3.0 and goes all the way to 4.0. And somebody asked, don't they have anything below 3.0? He said, yes, but for the sake of charting, we didn't include that. So the 25% has the older versions, which they didn't upgrade, and he even said that I have an old version which I didn't upgrade for PHP, but so the system is not upgrading itself. So he wanted to be more corporate, more commercialized, more monetizing. So I think it will be more in the market rather than what he wants to do. It will be more open source.
Okay. Is going corporate a good thing or a bad thing?
It's kind of a weird thing, because it's like, this is open source, meaning that no one's paying for the code, like directly to purchase it, yet we're all selling it as a service, as a product, as a line item that we're building our customers for. And so someone like Matt who's up on stage, he's selling his service, which is WordPress.com, to his customers. And he's selling WordPress VIP to his customers.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's kind of this weird balance that he's having to deal with, because he wants to make money, but he also wants to provide us with a great tool to be able to also make money. So it kind of puts him in a weird position.
Are we competing with Matt?
Oh, totally.
Oh.
Yeah, at some point you end up going to WordPress VIP. If you're not a VIP developer, you're going to have to find a VIP developer to get up to that point. So yeah, I guess in a way. Stuff like Rainmaker is definitely a competitor to WordPress.com.
I had an interesting conversation with somebody from WP Engine at a dinner on Saturday night, and it was something along the lines of he was working on a project where he was trying to inform the public about WordPress. He was trying to brand WordPress as the sort of the front runner for this public project that they're working on. And I said to him, there's a danger in that. And the danger is this: when I go talk to my clients, I don't tell them I'm a WordPress developer. That's not what I lead with, right? I'm a website developer. I'm building them a website. My clients don't care what's powering the website, right? And in the same thing goes for the general public. The general public doesn't care really what's powering the back end of the website, right? They just care that the website works. So there's a
but they're starting to care.
Do you think so?
I have some Facebook friends that are asking me questions that a year ago would never have guessed anything about blogging, because they see like their neighbors are making money with a stupid cat and baby blog and stuff like that. So they want to know, what is this WordPress thing? And I think I have regular non-techie friends that have heard it and know about it.
That's interesting.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Automatic or WordPress.com has a TV spot in the next 3 years, like major media, national media.
Well, Wix has a TV spot,
right?
And so does what's the other one? Squarespace has TV spots. So, but they're not. But they're selling services.
Well, yeah, but they're selling their own brand, right? But they're selling their brand.
So that's where the competition comes into play.
Okay,
Because
so
if they're presenting WordPress as the solution to it, well, they're not saying, oh, by the way, here's all of the WordPress developers that are available to you to have your site built by. They're saying, we provide you with these various, various themes, pick one.
For free.
For free, right, and then go from there.
Now, I took a very strong position with this guy from WP Engine, probably because I had 4 glasses of wine in me at this point.
I think it depends what the project was.
But these things do help me as a developer. If WordPress is branded along with Squarespace and Wix, and I go into a client and I'm talking about a project, and they ask, what do you use? And I say WordPress, and they recognize that does help me.
Like, remember, I don't know if you guys remember that story maybe a year or 2 ago about the city that paid like, what, 40-some thousand for a crappy website? Had that been put out?
I wrote a blog post about it. It was the city of Laguna Hills.
Right. I mean, if that was mentioned in some public space, I think many people, he would have voiced the fact that it should be made on WordPress, and that would have been many of us. And that's enough for me to think that, I mean, there's a lot of non-developers here that would have made that connection.
Yeah. Steve, was that the 2013 blog post?
I'll drink to that.
All right. Any other thoughts on this? Yeah, Dave?
What do you think that means? It's going to work. I mean,
what do I think it means?
Are they going to start charging to use it?
I don't think they can start charging to use it. I don't think they can start charging to use the software. It's open source. But,
well, they could charge as much as you can charge for it. They're just, nobody's going to pay them.
They could.
I think corporate sponsors may start driving the new features that are coming in the future. If it's going to change due to corporate influence, that's probably the direction that will change. I don't necessarily know what those features are, but I think corporate demand is going to make some changes.
Okay.
On a more local level, you may see more scrutiny in what is allowed to happen at the WordCamp level, or even at Meetup level in certain cities. Yeah, we're already seeing a certain amount of, a little bit of kind of peeking in. What are you guys doing over there?
That's already happening.
Yeah.
I have a good definition for that. It's coming at next Android.
Next what?
Android system.
Okay.
So everybody will have their own WordPresses. The corporates will have WordPress something, not many, but maybe 0.1 or 2. So it will be all Androids for Verizon, Androids for.
Well, you're on something, because that's where Rainmaker comes into play, where it's powered by WordPress, it's using its own themes and all that sort of thing tied together. I mean, you're already seeing that with WP Engine or with
Google. Google has periscopes.
Yeah.
Maybe I just, because I'm an outsider, I'm not a developer. We're just starting to use WordPress. But I've been to 3 conventions this year.
WordCamps?
No.
Okay.
Blogging, travel bloggers, television production, stuff like that. The only website that's in there has been WordPress. And the only hosting companies there have only been advertising that they host WordPress sites.
Okay.
So I don't know why you guys don't think it's very corporate.
It may be, but what I was reacting to is this weekend was the first time that WordCamp felt very corporate. It was getting there, but this weekend felt different.
Like every convention I've been to, this is the only website that had a booth, had people representing them there, and had people pushing their brand there. And then I would say majority of people who attending were using WordPress.
Okay, I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm not criticizing. I'm just asking. I'm asking how people feel.
Well,
and I think this does matter whether you're a developer or a user. I think this affects the entire community.
Yep. Probably I want to use it.
Yeah. So go ahead.
What is your take on that? Like, it made you think it was the solution? Yeah.
Well, I drink what I drink because of the marketing and the advertising. So, just a soft drink to beer, the marketing, the TV, the print, all that works. So when I'm walking down a trade show and WordPress has a booth, and the 4 people across from them say we specialize in hosting WordPress websites, it catches my eye. When I'm talking to developers, I get a developer, I don't know what language or websites are in, but I can't do anything. I have to email the guy, call two other guys, and hopefully within a week, a change is made. Or we started a WordPress site, and I know nothing about WordPress, but I can put my blog there, I can take pages out, I can have my assistant change images, and we know nothing about it.
So as a client, would you ask, what platform is my site being built on?
No, I would. The only reason I know about WordPress is because of the conventions, and the one developer I'm working with suggested WordPress. But I'm knowing nothing about websites. I'm happy with my first few steps into WordPress. That knowing nothing, I'm able to do a little bit. Whereas being in business for almost 30 years, I could never do anything with a website.
Good. It's good.
You got me here on a Monday night when I'd rather be watching football.
So at what point does WordPress become Kleenex?
Kleenex? There's Xerox?
Right.
I mean,
I mean, when my kids start telling me, oh, I'm gonna build a WordPress instead of I'm gonna build a website, that's when things are gonna change a little bit.
I have definitely seen a shift in just my normal conversations around this in the past year. When I tell somebody what I do, and I do talk about WordPress, they know what that is. Somebody's heard of it. When I go meet with a client, typically somebody on the team that I'm about to work with has some WordPress experience, if not multiple people. And most of them have had their own WordPress blog. So when I say, we're going to be building this site, here's how we're going to be building it, by the way, it's, here's your WordPress dashboard, I might mention that. They say, oh, I've used this WordPress on my cat blog, right? So I can manage that for us.
Did you ever get the negative side of that?
Absolutely.
Where they say, hey, that's for my blog, we want a real system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm wondering, that's a great point. I'm wondering if this branding and going a little bit more corporate and a little bit more professional, okay, so let me use a different term, professional, helps get rid of that stigma.
I think we have two big projects that we could look at for this that have gone through almost the same path, and it's Ubuntu and Mozilla.
Okay.
With Firefox and Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is, if you guys don't know, that's an operating system that's supposed to be easy for users to use, that is not Windows or Linux. But it's still not easy to use because it's branded for developers. So the same way that this WordPress is kind of branded towards us, it's hard to go into the mainstream. And these companies have tried to make it corporate and make it take off, but they're struggling. They've been struggling for years. And same for Firefox. Firefox started as a completely open source project, and it still is, but it's not corporate backed by Google and the Mozilla Foundation and things like that. So those are things we can look at historically to see some of the possibilities for WordPress.
Any other thoughts or comments? Yep.
Lots of clients, customers, they learn that what team is that site. They immediately go to that site and say, oh, okay, I want that site, that team. They love to find the things that come back at you and say, this is really good.
So I give this to all my clients now. I can't remember who in this group turned me on this. Somebody did. Usually it's Brandon that I get most of my information from. So if you don't have this, this is something you can use to tell what a site was built with. It's builtwith.com. So if I type in Zeke, it says this is built on WordPress and it's being hosted by WP Engine. So again, I will give this to my clients. This way they know if they see a site that they like, they can go in and they'll say, oh, this was built with WordPress, or this might have been built with Drupal or something, something else. It's a handy little tool.
We looked at one of our clients last week, prospective client last week, and found out they were a .NET solution. And so when we were talking to them, we started saying, well, you're .NET and this and that. And they kind of got surprised that we knew that their application was built on .NET.
I do that. I do this before I go in. I go into any client meeting. I'll pull this up. Or if somebody calls and says, "Hey, I'm looking for a developer. I want to redevelop my site." This is the first thing I do. I pull it up. I do that. I have the same conversation. Oh, I see you're in Cold Fusion.
Yeah, they freaked out like how I know.
Yeah. I just consulted my crystal ball. What's it? Any other comments on this before we close it out? Yeah.
And in my world, we have some websites that are really driven by the shopping cart. So, and that's one of the things I want to learn here, is what shopping carts work well with WordPress, and I'll couple it down.
Yep. So that's a great comment. I love that. Personally, I use WooCommerce. That's what I use these days. Now there's pros and cons to all, but I've found that WooCommerce can do most of what my clients need to do. And what it can't do, I can get inside of the WooCommerce store because they've got a lot of really good add-ons. I know a lot of people who swear by Shop, which is it's a competing product. Any other e-commerce platforms inside of WordPress that are worth mentioning?
I heard WordPress that if you had over 100 transactions a day, that it's way too slow to move.
It starts bogging down, yeah.
Is that going to be server? Is that going to be
Yeah.
server dependent? Is that going to be the amount of products? What is that dependent on?
It's not necessarily the number of products, but with every invoice created, you have the invoice, all the data records, the customer, all the specific information for the customer. It's all stored in Post and Post Meta.
Okay.
And so your Post Meta table just starts growing and growing. So if you're having thousands of transactions a day, you're creating hundreds of thousands of records in your Post Meta table.
Got it.
So it doesn't scale super well.
So that's WooCommerce.
WooCommerce. So what do you use? Shop.
What is it called?
Shop.
Shop. Shop plugin. Thank you.
Only 2 pieces.
Google
Shop.
shall correct you. Google shall lead you to the promised land.
Any other shopping cart solutions or e-commerce solutions inside of WordPress that are worth mentioning? I know there are, but ones that are worth mentioning. Part 66.
Part 66, WP e-commerce, PrestaShop has a solution.
Easy digital downloads if it's just digital downloads.
Yeah, to do that now. Gravity Forms has add-ons that you can use to purchase things.
So when you implement one of these shopping cart solutions, do you use their product management system for managing your products, or you just using this post?
Most of them will store the product as a post, a custom post type. Okay. So I do absolutely use their solution for creating and maintaining the product.
So I'm sorry, did that answer your question? Did that help?
I'm getting closer.
Okay, that's good.
It depends on what you want to do with your shop, which one you generally go with. Depends on how many resources you have to set it up. Decide what you want to do, which is why it's really hard to get just a one and done clear cut answer, because there's technical factors that go into it.
Just surprised to hear WooCommerce is, two of the conventions I asked the WordPress, what do you think of WooCommerce? And they said, don't use it.
Really?
I mean, I know, I have friends that have developed, sites that make tens of thousands of dollars a month, and they use WooCommerce.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, but they have less than 100 transactions.
Yeah, I run a couple of sites that,
it's more than 100 transactions, but I think it depends a lot on the server that you're running, how the systems together. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go into that.
Definitely. There's our VPN dedicated servers.
I have 2 sites on. I have 2 sites in WP Engine with over 900 transactions.
There you go. Did you hear that? Go ahead, say that loud.
So WP Engine can handle, at least I know, up to like 1,000 transactions per day with WooCommerce and their SSL certificate. So that's like $100 a month from them. And we are using the new add-on that does like 360 degrees. I think that's kind of heavy. I don't know. I never had a problem, and WP Engine handles it.
How long's
Almost a year for one and a little over 1 year for the other one. And I took over about 6 months ago.
All right.
No problem.
I was just saying that they're great at handling that except for today.
So actually, that's a great segue. Part of the reason I was going to talk about, or the other thing I was going to talk about, in addition to WordPress going corporate, is I noticed a lot of the hosts that were demoing that had booths at the WordCamp. So this is what was different for me at this particular WordCamp San Francisco, there were a lot of booths. There were a lot of vendors, yes.
Sandberg, he said, and I might have the quote wrong here, that he'd love to see more vendors at a WordPress event.
That's
Or at
fantastic.
a WordCamp.
That's fantastic if you want this to feel like a trade show. Okay? And to me, the lobby of WordCamp San Francisco felt like a trade show. Very much. They packed every little corner with some sort of booth or vendor.
So there should be a vendor floor that you go to as a vendor,
Right.
separate than where you guys have.
Really be a trade show.
Yeah.
Well, then,
So,
but that's part of
and
where-
again, I'm not passing judgment. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. To me, there were a lot more booths this year and a lot more serious booths this year. A lot of those booths were hosting companies.
Yeah, same thing happened in LA. LA this year, there were a lot more booths than LA last year.
Yep.
You know, a lot of those were hosting companies.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about the state of WordPress hosting. Who are you hosting with?
SiteGround and InMotion.
SiteGround and InMotion.
Those same two.
SiteGround and InMotion.
Media Temple and Site.
Okay. Media Temple, SiteGround.
Site 5. Site 5.
Site 5, not familiar with it.
They're pushed a lot by IT
Okay.
and SiteGround is too.
I didn't hear anybody, what's that?
DreamHost.
DreamHost.
I have a couple of clients on
Bluehost.
WP Engine, but I wouldn't use them anymore.
I didn't hear anybody say WP Engine.
I'm sorry.
I have some.
Because everybody read Matthew Woodward's article.
What's that?
Because everyone maybe read Matthew Woodward's article.
Okay.
Just blasted them. It apparently cost him a lot of money.
I'm a WP Engine customer. I have some sites hosted WP Engine. I'm a WP Engine strategic partner. I also am not hearing anybody mention WordPress VIP or Pagely.
I do a lot of non-WordPress work, so companies like WP and Pagely.
Speak up a little bit.
Hosts like WP Engine that host only WordPress sites.
Okay.
Do other things than just WordPress.
Okay. There was another comment back here.
I was gonna say, it's interesting that nobody said WP Engine because they seemed like they had more representatives than anybody.
Big time.
By maybe a factor of 2 or 3.
Big time. And if you've looked at a recent corporate photo of WP Engine, their team is ginormous.
I had a 25-minute wait.
Right, so, what's that?
I had a 25-minute wait this morning, not for WP Engine.
So what happened this morning? What happened today at WP Engine, Sarah?
Something about, they pushed out changes to their SSL system, which caused a lot of everything to go down, not work.
Is that a problem?
Everyone's had a 302 redirect on a site, on the aforementioned site that sells tens of thousands of dollars of products a month.
Uh-huh.
So that was a slight problem.
Is that SSL free? Is that what it was?
I'm not sure. I play at a much lower development level, but yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about it.
It's a big concern.
Okay. So, so if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, WP Engine, Pagely, those are WordPress managed hosts. Those are specifically WordPress hosts. That's all they host is WordPress, correct? Are there any other WordPress managed hosts that I'm not mentioning?
ZippyKid's still around?
ZippyKid?
DreamPress. DreamHost has their own.
DreamPress?
I was just gonna mention, some of these companies have a WordPress branding host service, but they also have.
But WP Engine only hosts WordPress.
WP Engine is.
Pagely only hosts WordPress, right?
Media Temple has, they just came out with part, that's what they.
Okay.
Oh,
SiteGround is cut, I mean, they
WordPress-centric.
tailor to WordPress. They're becoming what seems like WordPress centric, like Oscar said. They're very WordPress, but they're not just WordPress.
I wouldn't call them.
Okay.
They're friendly.
Okay.
Can you bring up their site?
Sure.
I can't.
SiteGround?
SiteGround. I use them,
Okay.
they're really good support.
Yeah, they are very good with support. I've actually hosted a site here before. They're an excellent company.
My crane did not look like that. I'm just gonna come out and say.
Yeah, well, you gotta follow directions. Yeah, you gotta.
Did you see the instructions for the name of it? That was like, horrible UI. Rethink that entire thing. As a UI person, that drove me nuts.
And they gave me a pair of socks, so I didn't have to fold the organza. Yeah. All right.
The UI problems at the after party were pretty glaring.
Were they? Oh, the UI party, the UI of the party? I don't know. At that point, I was already 4 glasses of wine and several beers in, so I don't know. So let's talk about pricing, okay? So if you're used to GoDaddy, Bluehost, HostMonster style pricing, you know, those are like the very small shared server sites that those are like under 20 bucks a month, right? SiteGround has some offerings, some prices in that range, but what I always recommend to my clients, and I always recommend to my friends, if you're doing anything serious, you should step up past shared hosting. So I don't even, I barely look at shared hosting, but they do, SiteGround does offer shared hosting. Does that make sense what I just said? Shared, please stop me if you have any questions.
What are the plans to
Yep.
make it? The big blue button. Yeah.
Where is it?
It's the C plans.
The blue button. That's
In the middle.
C plans. There we go. So those are their shared hosting plans, right? Meaning you're sharing a server with possibly hundreds or thousands of other sites.
Oh, you just answered my question, which is exactly what you mean by shared hosting.
Shared hosting means that you're on a box with hundreds or even thousands of other sites. And if one of those sites starts hogging up all the box's resources, then your site could potentially go down.
So if you had a mall, and it was in a 20-story building, and there was only one front door, that's your internet connection. And if somebody does something bad and the internet connection gets slammed, then everyone that's in that building, all of those stores, slowly but surely start having issues.
So you're going to experience this with any host that's offering shared hosting. So if you're on a plan that's 20 bucks a month or less, you are probably on shared hosting.
But there's not a real problem with that until you get to serious traffic.
You're absolutely right. Right.
I mean,
so this is fine for your catalog.
Well, this is fine for a lot of blogs.
Absolutely. I'm not knocking this for most mom and pop style websites. Okay. And catalogs. Okay.
Yeah.
My clients aren't going to be on something like this.
When you say if you're doing something serious, are you talking like McDonald's and Starbucks? Or, I mean, what do you?
McDonald's and Starbucks, you're going to need dedicated boxes.
No,
What's that?
What do you mean by serious?
It really, there's no way to answer that with a definite answer, right? Because there's a lot of ways to determine what I'm calling serious. Traffic is definitely one of them. Bandwidth. What's that?
How many people are on the site at any given time?
That's a big, that's the biggest difference.
We should be asking the hosting guy.
That is the biggest difference across all of those plans.
So concurrent users.
How many resources your site takes on a single visit? If you have a site that takes available resources, maybe 100,000 people a day, sure. Maybe 100,000 people an hour, not a big deal. If your site takes a lot, but you look at most of these sites and you go through, there's sites like webpage test that will give you how many queries your site makes.
Yep.
You look at these sites that got over 2 gigs or 2 megs a page, and all of a sudden they've got 300 queries going out. What in the sector?
I compare this to rent. So if you're going to
Rent the place?
No, rent the.
I got it. I understand.
For a brick and mortar place. So if you're kind of making money on your website, but just to go back to what's actually serious. If you're trying to make money to, pay for nice things and maybe food on the table and that sort of stuff, well, spend more money on better hosting. You wouldn't pay $5 for rent for like this place. There's no way. I mean, Steve would have that trash can outside and it'd just be a small corner of it. The idea is that if you're gonna make money, spend some decent money on hosting.
Like serious money, those don't have numbers on them.
Right.
Well, whatever's serious to you.
Well, I'm in the video production business.
Mhm.
That's where I make my money.
Right. But if you
So
you don't even air that much video on your website.
So let's look at, since we're looking at SiteGround, and I'm not necessarily endorsing anything here, let's look at what the next step up is, which is their cloud hosting, which is essentially equivalent to like a VPS. So you can get into cloud hosting for $70 a month. I know VPSs that are 40 or $50 a month. So that's kind of your next step up. So we're not talking about life-changing amounts of money here. WP Engine starts at $30 a month. Now that is shared, but they have a different caching solution than most others, and actually does pretty well for a lot of traffic. So again, go ahead.
I was going to say, you were talking about Sirius. I would say that Sirius to me is if I have a site that goes down for 3 hours, if I'm not incredibly pissed off, then it's not Sirius. If my site goes down for 3 hours and it costs me money, or I need that up, that's where my Sirius site is. So yeah. Sorry, I just.
No, that's okay. That's okay. If you are hosting at a GoDaddy or a Bluehost or a HostMonster or something like that, you're paying. Let's say you're paying $15 a month. I tell all my clients this. I would recommend the first thing you do is just step up to a WP Engine account for $29 a month. Double it. You're going to do much better there than you are at most other shared hosting plans.
You spend at Starbucks one day.
Absolutely.
So it's not that much.
Have you seen my coffee bill?
No, but it's really not that much if you're going to be making money from this.
No.
A $10 larger.
I have customers that pay $3,000 a month for hosting. I have customers that pay $250 to $300 a month for hosting.
I have customers that pay $15,000 a month for hosting.
Wow.
So if you want to do WordPress, you're saying you should do something that's specific to hosting WordPress.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that these options are out there. Okay. So I mentioned WP Engine and Pagely specifically because they're WordPress specific hosts. They know WordPress specific things. And I know that because I've called other hosts for tech support and said I'm doing WordPress, and they'll say, well, we really don't support the software. I've called WP Engine, I've called Pagely for something specific. I say, okay, here's where it is in the code, and here's what's causing your problem. They know this platform really, really well. So even though Dave mentioned they only host WordPress, they host it well because it's their specialty. Yeah.
The other hosts which support like every CMS, that's quite that's just super WordPress. I can go online, host anytime, and ask for Joomla, Typo.
What host are we talking about?
One.com, but I think it's a German one actually.
I don't understand what the
One.com.
One?
Like a number. Yes, pretty easy.
I'm not familiar with them. And they understand.
They have a store in Hamburg actually, and they have German live chat, and if the German one's down because it's 2 a.m., you can go to the English one. I asked them about HTTPS stuff, Joomla, Typo, WordPress, and they always know stuff. So I would prefer sites like that, which don't because I do everything stuff on my web phone.
Ultimately, I'm not criticizing anything. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just informing, right? I've found other hosts that will actually support the software as well. There's a host I've used for years called Servant that I love. Their customer service is fantastic. They're just a great little host in the at the East Coast.
Really, really fast one is Lunar Pages.
Lunar Pages has been around for years.
Really fast. And they're a little. How about the higher tier?
What's that?
Servant's up in the second center here on the West Coast.
Yep.
These guys are so fast, and they know they'll help you even with stuff that they don't advertise.
So kind of the purpose of this conversation was to inform and just to let everybody know what's out there, and you do need to find the host that's right for you. Not all hosts are created equally. And to me, what sets apart one host from another is not just hardware, but customer support, right? Customer support's a biggie. If you can't get anybody on the phone, or if you only have a ticketing system, you got problems. And I tweeted today about a specific host. So I use a host called Joyent that I've been with for years for my other company, which is Real Estate Shows. As far as customer support is concerned, they're horrid.
So why haven't you moved?
Because I haven't taken the time to do it. I would move in a heartbeat. It's a big effort to move, right? Join is, here's your box, here's your server, we're done. That's it. So what happened today, and David was part of this, is I just needed them to upload a new SSL certificate. We renewed an SSL certificate and GoDaddy sent us a new one.
You'd think that would be easy.
So I sent them, I wrote them a ticket and I said, please do this. Here's the SSL certificate. It's already ready for the platform that you need. I just need this put in the right place. What did they do? They responded with, here's our support pricing matrix. That was my response. Wrong response. They got a tweet.
Joined is also the company that sponsors Node.js.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I paid Joint thousands a month. So when I look at hosts, I look at customer support. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to get good customer support. Anyway, any other questions or thoughts on hosting? I did want to mention that today, and I want to talk about what I saw this weekend.
Why do some of you have two host services?
Some of them are client specific, so I have several clients and several sites that I work on, and some sites have been, some hosts have been more suited for different sites. Sometimes my clients bring a host to me. So we're already working with this host, we've got a relationship, we want to work with this host. So I've probably in my stable of websites I work on right now, I have 4 different hosts, 5 different hosts I deal with. The one that I dislike the most is Rackspace.
Steve, what's the company that owns about 20 or 30 different?
Endurance International.
Pull up their site that displays all of those.
It's
It's a Wikipedia.
There's a clear channel of those.
And if you're on there, you should put it about it away.
Yeah, there is a Wikipedia page, isn't there, about that has
Isn't up top?
They're actually all pretty decent hosts for some of the stuff that they do.
Those?
If you're on one of those, you might think about not being on one of those.
That's the bargain basement. Volume.
What, $2 hosts, you can't host with them?
I'm on Saba Pro. I don't even have.
I actually have a lot of sites in there that make a lot of money. And it's not relevant to the host, it's your content and how fast and well you're able to deliver.
I agree with Oscar on that.
A small orange can compete with SiteGround just as well as Bluehost.
I agree, yeah.
Could you briefly explain web hosting versus cloud hosting? Not really.
Web hosting versus cloud hosting. That's a really vague term.
It's a marketing type term.
Yeah.
Cloud hosting means how they set up the computers they're hosted on. So
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking.
the old way was to put your site directly on the hardware. Like you've got your laptop and your files are there, and that's that. But they've got things set up so they run in a virtual machine. So they're like a simulated machine that's there. And they can treat the whole thing as a file that they copy around between servers, between the physical machines. So if a machine is about to die, they have all these sensors that tell the fan's about to die, and they can copy the image from here to there, and it's like in Fight Club where they talk about the changing the reels of the film. It's like you don't notice.
It does that, but it also, for example, let's say that you access your website in New York. If it's truly a web system as opposed to just a traditional web hosting, like he's saying, they might, if you're visiting from, let's say, New York and your site is hosted in the US, you're going to get a really fast connection. But if you're in Singapore, they may have a copy of your site already closer to that. And that's part of the web offering. So the same system that allows them to replicate it, if something's going to fail, allows them to serve you a copy that's faster to your
That means
location.
different things, though. Check with the site first to see if we have access points in Virginia and San Francisco and Sydney.
It could be just a marketing term to get you to buy their service.
I was going to say, can't cloud just be used as a marketing term? You know, here's our cloud. We've got a bunch of computers set up.
You got kind of the rule of thumb is.
Yes.
There should be.
Yes to both of those. Yes.
And here's the catch, traditional web hostings are moving towards a web model the way that we describe it, with all the features, but they're not quite all there yet.
You mean the traditional cloud?
Right. I mean, if you remove the marketing terms and you really look at what it means, most traditional hostings are moving towards that model because it's more efficient and more profitable.
Yep.
Anybody has a customer or a site which is outside of US?
A customer that's outside of the U.S. Hosted outside of the U.S. or
like their primary, their primary focus or whatever is from another country.
Like physically located somewhere else?
SiteGround is based in the UK.
No, I'm not saying are we developing?
Why do you ask?
Because I have some and
Okay.
I host them in the US and it doesn't work. So you have to move someone who is in just like in Germany and so on. That's faster and better there. But then it becomes a problem for me to go there.
Yeah, if your customer's target market is Germany, you probably want a German host.
Exactly.
Some countries have limitations in laws, like Canada. I think you have to have a host in Canada. You have a certain number of
transactions and things.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that doesn't mean you can't host it within the US either. It depends on which hosting you're using. If that's going to work well.
It's an answer for the cloud hosting. They have several servers.
They can.
So they say, although we are a US company, we have a server in Germany and Sydney and so on. So they are cloud, so they don't care.
Now, I have a customer whose target customer is everyone outside the US. They don't do any transactions within the US, and they're hosted based in Texas. There you go.
Is there a comment over here about international?
Oh, there's ways around it. You're gonna have a latency issue no matter where you're, if you're trying to cover any kind of great distance with it, that's gonna be a problem. So you're better off going to a local country, but there's ways around it. There's CDNs and other things that you can do.
And have we witnessed like connections problems or stuff like that from Germany to that host in the US? It's more like helicopters than connections to websites.
Yeah, I was going to say. All right.
It depends on who your bandwidth providers are. You've got a big backbone that's set to, that has to be done to the country you're going to. Then you've got a better chance of, if you're hearing with that backbone, you've got a better chance of manage this.
Yeah, that's what you have to look into.
All right. I'm going to switch topics. I think we've exhausted this one. Yeah. What else should we talk about tonight? What'd you come here for? It's not therapy.
Looking for the pizza. I guess that's
Pizza's developer night.
We haven't had pizza.
Yep.
I guess one of our websites for video production, I have a blog in it, a blog with it. So when I look at most bloggers, they have where they blog is their website.
Okay.
So what I want to do is have my website or my 9-to-5 job and have my blog in that website. So I don't have to have another website to chase my members even more. So I want to keep as many people on my website as possible. I'm just wondering, when you use WordPress to do a blog inside of WordPress on your website, are there places to find templates and stuff so that when they click on the blog, I don't want it to look like another website, but I wanted to have a design feature so I can move pictures around, add nice captions, and make it look designed so it doesn't just look like a blogger post or something.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. It's going to be theme specific, right?
Or
So
plugin. You can use it as plugin.
yeah,
Custom site.
you can, but most likely it's going to be theme specific. And what I'm getting at is you might find a theme that's got a specific blog template in it. I think that's going to be the easiest for you. Go ahead.
Well, the website already has the main.
Okay.
I'm just saying, when you click on the blog.
Right.
And you go to read the blog and the pictures, because I do both video blogs and then text blogs. So I want the text blog to have a look, so it doesn't, I don't want it to look like a website like all the bloggers do.
Got it.
I just want it to look nice and clean with text and photos and whatever info.
Perfect. So let's talk about that. Okay. This is great. I'm going to start in desktop server. Can we hit the lights? Can you hit the lights for me? So if you're not already using desktop server, I always recommend this program. So desktop server allows me to develop everything locally in my machine. You may already be using something like XAMPP or WAMP or MAMP. This is a replacement for those. So desktop server is a front-end interface for XAMPP. And it allows you to easily maintain your local WordPress site. So everything I'm going to do right now is just inside of my local machine. So this allows you to develop locally before you put anything on your production site to help you avoid cowboy coding. Right? So I'm able to develop everything right now without disrupting anything that's going on my production server. Let's just go ahead and make a new site here. And if you want desktop server, this actually is free for up to 3 websites, and then you pay for a license for unlimited. So that's their business model, desktop server. Normally, Greg Franklin is here, who represents ServerPress and desktop server, but I think he's still up in San Francisco. So let's make I'm going to make a new website here. I'm just going to call it XYZ. Desktop server does everything I would normally do in MAMP. It sets up all the config files. It sets up the database, it installs WordPress for me, and now I've got my site ready to go. So if I click here, here's my site ready to install, and I just set it up as xyz.dev. Pretty cool. So let's make it English, and the site title is XYZ. Oh, I'm in Safari. Yikes. How did that happen? Yes, I want Chrome to be my default browser. Anybody using Yosemite? You like it?
Yes. It's fugly.
It's not fugly.
Cool. It's so flat.
I like that. All right, so I've got my new WordPress website. There's several ways to go about what you're talking about, okay? And you do kind of want to plan this ahead of time. So where am I going to put my blog posts separate from the rest of my website, okay? One way to do it, a very simple way, is all of the pages on my site are static, so that's my website, and then posts are my blog posts. But you might have different kind of posts in there. You might have new press releases, which are not necessarily blog posts. You might have some other date-based content. So I don't know exactly how you're setting up your site, but the easiest way to do it is posts are your blog posts and pages are your static pages. I have several sites that just separate them out like that. Okay? If you need posts to be something different, I could categorize, right? So every time I read a blog post, I give it a category of blog. That's one way to do it. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, I mean, I know how to do this.
Okay. I'm getting there, and I'm doing this for the edification of the whole group, just in case somebody else doesn't know this. Okay. Once I've sort of come up with the way I want to do this. Actually, I'll take it back. The third way I was going to do this was set up a custom post type. This is a little bit more developer-y. The custom post type would make it a separate section where I have all my blog posts as one type. All right. The way to do that is an easy way I do it is by using custom post type UI. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new plugin. We will search for custom post type UI. There are other plugins that do this. Inside a custom post type UI, I'm going to go ahead and add a new post here. We'll call it blog. Create a post type, and now I've got a new tab here called blogs. So those might be my blog posts. And again, now what I've done is sort of sectioned off those posts into a custom post type. And this is important because if you have a theme or a custom theme that you're creating, then you can have a template that's just for those post types. So that you can separate those templates out by post type inside of your theme. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. Any questions so far or comments? Okay, cool. This may be reviewed for you as well, but let's forget the custom post type for a second. Let's say I am, have a bunch of blog posts that I've written. Let me just create a couple of test posts here. Inside of my pages, I might have a page that I create. Now I'm starting to build out my sites. Let's create a page here called homepage. I might have a page called About Us, Our Team. It's kind of some of the standard static pages I might have on my website. On my website, if I wanted the front page not to be blog posts, so right now, if I go to the front page of my website, I've got the latest blog post, the second to latest blog post. It's just a list of all the blog posts that are there. If I wanted the front page not to be that, the place I go for that is settings reading. I change the front page from my latest posts to the home page. And then I can have a post page be another page. Let me create that page. So let's call this, let's have a page called blog. And then back in the reading settings, I can set that post page, which is the latest 10 blog posts or whatever number I set it to our blog. Okay? Now when I go to the front page, I'm seeing the home page. But if I go to our blog, now I'm seeing those latest posts. So that's already built into WordPress to basically distinguish between posts and pages. That makes sense so far? Have you already done this on your site?
Yeah, maybe it would have to be one to my site.
What's that?
Maybe if you went to my site.
You go for it.
Sport-fishing.com.
You hosting at GoDaddy?
Well, they're moving it right now.
I'm just joking.
That's where it was.
Oh.
So I'm moving it together.
Okay.
At the very bottom is my blog.
Okay. And how are you configuring that now?
What blog?
Where is it?
It's just above.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, I think you went.
Oh, this is your blog.
Yeah, so those are all video blogs.
Okay.
But I want to add in there text blogs.
Okay.
So what I want is if you click on one of those right now, it would be a video. But if you click on one that would be a text blog, then I want it to not compete with. I don't want it to look like another website. I just want it to look like a nice page layout where I can put pictures and put in the text.
Again, everything you're describing is going to be theme specific. So I don't know how your theme is. What theme are you using?
Well, the question I would ask is, why can't you just put text instead of the video next
That's
time?
what I'm curious about as well.
No, I can't, because it's just another text and a picture, and then, because like I said, I've only done one text blog.
Okay.
That's why I came here today, was trying to learn it. There's like templates just for the text blogging, not for a whole website. We have a
Yes. Okay, and I think we're all kind of saying the same thing.
No. He's looking for
Go ahead.
content template for a single blog post.
Right.
That's not theme.
Why isn't that theme?
Oh, yeah, it could be, yes.
Okay.
You're right.
There are a couple ways to go about this. Hang on one second. A couple ways to go about this. So in your theme, there may be a template that says, this is this is being applied to blog posts. Maybe based on a category, could be based on several things, right? Okay. It also could be based on a format. So each of these posts have a post format, right? So when I went in and made a new post, these are formats. So your videos might be a video format, or the standard format might be the page you're talking about. Again, to me, when I'm developing a theme, that's going to be theme specific as to how that ultimate layout is going to be. Okay, Oscar was talking about certain plugins that might give you what you want, but I don't know enough about your theme to understand why you can't post a gallery of pictures or some pictures within your blog post. But let me go over that next. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't see why you can make either a separate blog to this text or create several pages that you will identify as being a blog.
I think we should
just individual pages.
I think we're mincing terms. Basically, I think what he's talking about is kind of where you were going, where he wants to format text a certain way that's consistent throughout the text blog post, which in that case could be a custom post tab where he puts in the title for the gallery, and then the pictures are going to fit there, and that's part of the theme. Or you could use plugins that allow you to put shortcodes that build that structure as you wish on a post by post basis.
Sarah?
So I just ran this site through wpthemestat.com.
Okay.
And it looks like it's a YI themes theme.
Okay.
And those are usually, they format the blog posts using their shortcodes.
Is there documentation on those?
Yes. If you pull up the wpthemestat.com, it'll take you to the site. That's what I'm thinking.
See, to find this, I'd pull up googlethatforme.com. Or what is it, Jason?
LMGTFY.
Sport education.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should. And then the documentation on the theme homepage.
The documentation is here.
Strong.
So at the top where it says shortcodes.
There we go.
Yep, that's the thing that was.
There's a video. There's some images shortcodes and a slider.
These just look like events. Columns, just from the columns.
I don't see any columns.
There.
Did you?
Hello, Twitter. Widgets.
Widget areas there. So what we're talking about here, the reason that we're all kind of talking different languages is this theme is a platform by itself.
Right.
So not all themes are created equally. So this theme, that's why where I was going with this was I'd create a custom page within the theme that you're using to do what you want it to do. But I'm thinking of it from a developer standpoint. Okay. This theme has certain shortcodes already built into it to let you do particular layouts. That's why I'm glad Sarah pointed this out. I looked at the documentation of this particular theme. If you're using Woo themes, they come with similar documentation. But the Woo themes, if you're doing this with Woo themes, it's going to be different than if you're doing it in this theme. So these aren't WordPress standard calls. These are something that the theme developers created for you to do that layout. So that's why I keep saying this is theme specific. Your blog posts and how you're formatting things are going to be specific to what the theme functionality is there and available to you.
Okay, so if you go back to where you were making your own blogs.
Yes.
When you start putting in text in there, can you insert, like somebody said, I guess there's some sort of theme I can put in there so it doesn't look like just text like that. It might have maybe 2 columns and insert a picture in the middle.
No. No. Hang on one second. that layout that we're looking at on the front end is specific, that's being driven by 2014, which is the theme that I'm using. And 2014 doesn't have any columns in it. But there is a plugin that can do columns. Go ahead, David. Dave.
There's a plugin that can do columns.
Thank you for repeating what I said. What is that plugin do?
Type columns into the thing.
What is that plugin? Yeah. Wrong Dave.
It's just communicating. Steve, if I got out of the text mode and went to the visual mode, would I be able to move things around?
Same deal.
No, you can move some things like a picture and put it in certain areas.
That's what you're talking about. Just talking about inserting a picture.
Sure.
That's different.
If I went to visual mode instead of text, could I drop in a picture and have the text wrap around it?
Yes, I'm on the visual tab right now. Okay, so let's drop some media in, because I think that's what you're asking.
So I want it to look like you're reading a story in a magazine. I don't want it to look like another website.
So there's a couple things that are built into WordPress. If I just want to insert an image, right, I'm going to insert that into the post, and I inserted all of them. It's going to go wherever my cursor is inside the post. Okay, so that image is there. If I wanted to left align it, I click align left, and now it's doing that wrap. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay, so that is built into WordPress. So that's all right here. So I'm using WordPress 4. Okay. If I click on the pencil icon, I've got alignment here. So if I can align it right, I can choose a different image size because WordPress gives you it creates image sizes for you. So let's do a larger image, and it actually has a link to the image itself. I'm going to take out the link. Okay. So there's right aligned and a bit of a larger image. Let's make it smaller. So I also have these controls over the image, although I don't recommend using this, but this is there's an image resize tool built right in. So I'm going to update that, and let's view the post. Now I've got my image in. But again, all those tools are there for you in WordPress, but the layout itself on the front end is theme specific. Not all themes are created equally. So hang on one second, Dave. So the way it lays out, the way it wraps, the way it shows the image, all that stuff is going to be specific to the CSS that's in the theme.
I was basically saying the same thing.
Okay.
Just the theme is going to dictate how well it works with these types of features that are built into WordPress.
Yes.
And everything is different.
Yes. So one of the things I think you were asking about may be a WordPress gallery. Okay. So I put in an image. Now I'm going to insert a gallery. So when I click Add Media, I'm going to create a gallery. Let's add these 6 images in, create a new gallery, insert the gallery, and now I've got a gallery inside the middle of the post. Let's save that and see what that looks like. So this is what a gallery is. These just open up into larger versions of the image. Those are just sitting inside of the body of the post. Are those the kinds of things you're looking for?
Yeah, no, that's one.
Okay.
Probably would be cool if you switch a theme.
What's that?
Just switch to a different theme.
Okay.
To show how
We'll switch to 2013.
If I wanted to tweak it more, I could put captions into the photos.
Absolutely. So now,
Website.
this is what that post looks like inside of 2013. Kind of similar, but a little bit of a different layout. And all I did here was just switch themes. Again, that layout is controlled very much so by the theme. I hope that helps. I know we went over a lot of different things. I didn't know exactly what you were asking, but I think we gave a lot of information there.
How about the template area? It's not activated by default, is it?
It's pretty.
The template area for pages, or
yeah, and choose template for. Oh yeah, that is pages.
That's pages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So again, theme specific. If the theme has multiple templates, sorry, that's oh, it's not turned on for this theme.
Is that under screen options?
I know with my thing though, it does have those little shortcuts or shortcodes. So if I drop in a shortcode, then I could have that already pre-built.
Yep.
That's probably the same thing that the plugin would do.
Those are functions that are specific to your theme.
How do you,
What David was talking about is some themes actually have different templates for your pages. So this 2014, it showed up with that template chooser there. That's specific to pages. That's not posts. What was the comment?
I was gonna point out that if you have a bunch of this stuff set up under the blog post and then you decide to change themes, and your new theme doesn't support those same shortcodes, your content is going to look immediately different. So you need to be aware of that if you ever want to move away from that.
Yeah. In technical terms, your host.
Yes.
how do you see, on the shortcodes, how do you get to the actual script and turn it on or copy and paste a certain widget or certain shortcode? I mean, the way it was laid out in the template is already finished, right? It's the published version. How do you,
Are we talking about this? Are we looking at?
when we're going back to his theme,
Uh-huh.
there's certain shortcodes, for instance, like mine, right? So, like if I want a certain shortcode, how do you view the script? How do you view the text?
We look at your documentation for your theme, for one.
I think you just want to see how.
Steve, show the blog post that you're in right now and just switch to text, and then galleries should have a shortcut.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what you're asking. So there's you're talking about how you see it, like physically see a shortcode like this?
You were at his theme preview, right? Where it previewed a bunch of shortcodes. Right.
Yeah.
So if you go back to
Yeah, Terry.
right,
This?
yeah. So let's say he wants.
Go to the drop down. Just the top.
Let's say he wants
It's,
that. Yeah.
top row.
This is just a demonstration. This
Yeah,
is
are they
summary
showing-
at the top of the menu?
Top
Oh,
row.
you're saying these?
Yes. Well, they're,
I don't know where the documentation is on these.
It would probably be bundled with the theme.
Yeah.
Documentation problem.
and all it is that little bracket that he showed you, but it's going to be a different word and a different number or a different special code that tells you, hey, this is a video one or this is a widget one.
That's specific to that.
That is specific to this particular theme. Those aren't built into your theme. Those aren't built into WordPress. And again, I can't reinforce this enough. Not all themes are created equally, and not all theme documentation is created equally.
But some of those themes have those shortcuts built into the editor right there, which you just click a button and it drops into things. You didn't have
Yes.
to copy and paste.
Some of all of the developers in the room want you to know, shortcodes will blow up on you. That-
And you will be, in technically speaking, host.
Maybe.
Are there, is it, let me know if this is confusing for anybody. If there's any questions on this, I want to cover this. Yep.
So where you are right now, if I wanted to, I could make that picture a video, put text around it, or I could put text first instead to further explain this technique. Let's watch this video. It's going to be below.
Yep. All right. What else? Can you hit the lights again? Turn the lights on. What else should we cover? We got.
Using the categories versus that plugin that you installed initially. What was that called?
Custom post type UI?
Yeah.
I was just giving an option. I was giving an option. It's really going to be, that's really more of a business decision, and depending on how your site's structured.
So if you had shirts and pants that you sold on 2 separate pages, I imagine you create.
That's really going to depend on your e-commerce plugin. Each e-commerce plugin is going to be different, but if you're using WooCommerce, those are categories.
Usually categories.
But if you're just displaying it, you don't even necessarily need it, you're just showing shirts and putting on this.
Well, if you're displaying it.
That's the first thing I thought of. It could be, reptiles and amphibians. You're just showing different types of content.
Okay, so hit the lights one more time. So let's add some categories. Okay.
So, I mean, would it be better to add it as categories or as?
I'm going to show it as categories for a second. Okay. So let's. So here's let's do apples and oranges. Okay.
Is this still doing blog or is this?
I'm just adding categories. Okay. So I'm adding categories for posts. So, I hesitated when I say that because these can be extended. I'm taking my developer hat off for a second. These are just categories for posts, okay? So now when I go into my posts, I'm gonna categorize some of these, okay? So let's give this post number 3 a category of apples, all right? And this post number 2, the same category. But post number 1, we'll call that oranges. Okay. So now that I have some categories, and you see the categories are there populated in the categories column, right? Here's where menus becomes interesting, okay? So if you're not already familiar with this tab, again, this is going to be very theme specific, but themes that will support WordPress menus, I have the ability to put whatever menu I want at the top there. Okay, so let's create a menu here called main menu. Okay, the first thing I need to do when I create a menu is give it a location. So this is kind of this is always sort of the missed step inside of WordPress because this tab's kind of hidden. But in this theme, I have 2 spots for menus, and I know my top menu is that menu that's on the very top. So I'm just going to assign that to main menu. Okay, so in this screen, I'm just assigning a menu area with the menu I just created. So in that main menu now, I can add in the About Us page, okay, the home page, our team page. But here's what's cool is I created those categories, right? So let's also add in the apples category and the oranges category. And you can see here I've got these 3 pages and these category pages, right? So like the blog post page I created earlier, I now have a category page here, apples and oranges. So anything I tagged as apples shows up there. So post number 2 and post number 3 were tagged as apples. I now have those pages. And post number 1 was categorized as oranges. It's the only post on this page. So those category pages and those menus are already built into WordPress. And that's what's becoming interesting. Does that kind of help?
Yeah. I mean, that's typically the way I've done it. You just kind of introduced a plugin I hadn't used before. And so I was curious what the difference was with the custom.
The custom post type, again, I threw that in just because it's an alternate way to put your posts in a different bucket, but that's a little bit more advanced.
Does it give you more flexibility later, or?
Yes and no. Again,
it's more complicated.
It's not more complicated. It does serve a specific purpose, and it really is a business decision. If I've got a very simple site and my post can be categorized like this, categorized like this, then you're fine, right? I have very complex sites that are doing multiple posts that need to be bucketed in certain areas. Otherwise, they're just going to get lost in that post area. And that's where I use custom post types.
I was just going to say, like, if you're selling shirts, you could do custom post type and put size or color or type of fabric as instead of categories or tags, and then use that. But it does complicate things.
Yeah, if you are using WooCommerce, for instance, products becomes a custom post type. Thoughts, questions? Hit the lights again for me. All right. I think we covered enough ground for tonight. Let's go ahead and end there. We'll network here for about 15, 20 minutes, and we drink both during and after the meeting. So we'll meet up again at the House of Brews afterwards and grab a beer there. If you don't know where it is, let me know, and I'll give you the address. Otherwise, when's the meeting next month? I know we're now getting into the holidays. I believe I scheduled one for next month. So November. Bless you. Thank you. There we go. All right, so these are the upcoming meetups. Design Day, Sarah's here, raise your hand. Design Day is on the 3rd, Developer Day is on the 10th, and General Meetup is on the 24th if you're not out of town already for Thanksgiving. Otherwise, we'll see you next month, and then at the House of Brews in 20, 25 minutes. Thank you for coming.